What's up, everybody? I'm Mason, aka Amiiglows, and today I am here with
Kyle, aka Mr. SpaceHeater, and today our guest is
TJ from Custom Conquest, Smash Supremacy, and Me. You may also recognize this guy, Dark TJ.
and we are scanning in to Touchbase Podcast Level 10. Time to introduce our guest, TJ from Custom Conquest, Me, Smash Supremacy, and Dark TJ, his evil alter ego, or dark alter ego. And so, we're glad to have you on, man.
Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
yeah, definitely.
Yes. So, he's done some pretty awesome custom amiibo work. He's done, most recently, he did the Shy Guy Me Fighter, which they gave away at PAX East during the Toys for Games panel. I also donated to that with a Mega Man.
That was a pretty awesome glowing Mega Man.
And I like making him, so when he's been going up on GameStop, I've been ordering as many as I can, so I can just do them all. He's also my most requested figure. So, as far as this week, we figured we'd start out with talking about TJ a little bit. He's done that awesome Shy Guy amiibo.
The ones that I probably use the most are me, actually, and Dark TJ. And then I've also made the 7 Koopalings.
Yep.
I've made several Dark Links, although I don't have any in my possession anymore. And a Waluigi. I made some Inklings for Smash, so they're really Mii fighters, but it's the Inkling figure, so when you scan them into Smash, you get the Mii fighter.
I gotcha.
And
Nice.
then, what else did I make? Oh, and then a Mega Plush Pikachu. And I've got maybe 10 or 15 in various states that the process has begun, but it's just a matter of finding the time to complete them.
Gotcha.
Wait, so what is that?
For they're all ones that will appear on Custom Conquest. So the ones that are coming up next, I've got a Doctor different Zelda-themed ones that I've been really excited to get to.
I like that.
I kind of need to work in marathons because that's kind of the way that my schedule works. Is I don't customize as a job at all. I do edit as part of a job, so the customizing as far as the online community is concerned, it's less me trying to promote the selling of them and more trying to encourage people how to be able to do it themselves if that's something that interests them through the Custom Conquest show. I do not particularly... Each one is such a unique and individual experience that I don't enjoy repeating it. So I don't think I would like doing the same custom over and over again. The only ones I've made more than once are Dark Link, and my passion for it diminishes. Even though I get better at it technically, my passion diminishes as I do it more and more.
I can totally understand that. And less of each, and because especially my Fit and Jake Toon Links, I've just gotten so sick and tired of making them over and over again. Now it's a chore. It's not enjoyable anymore.
Yeah, I totally understand. Mega Man, I don't mind making because, I've gotten... It's just muscle memory at this point. I've done so many of him, it's unreal. But, like, the more complicated figures, I had a lot of Palutena requests for a while. She's the hardest figure for me to make. She takes forever to make, and I just can't do it. So I completely understand, like, I've got, like 6 different amiibo just pulled in pieces on my frickin' like entertainment center up there. Like, I've got a Rob amiibo, I've got a Lucas, a Ryu, a Rob, or I already said Rob, Ryu, Roy, what else do I have? Like a bunch of other amiibo just sitting there that are like half pulled apart. I've got a Ganondorf in a bag. I've got a Pit, like all his parts pulled apart in a bag. And I'm just like, oh god, I really don't want to do all these orders that I've got right now. I'm finally getting close to being caught up with the orders, and then I'm finally going to get to do some good ones for myself / put them up for sale once they're done if I don't really want them myself. But I totally understand.
And most of the ones that I make are motivated by a purpose. I really appreciate and respect the artistry that's out there. I've seen some amazing amiibo that, as a figure, as an art piece, are just breathtaking, but as an amiibo are not really corresponding to their game functionality. So I've seen Gokus that like drop my jaw, but you scan a Goku and you don't have a Goku. So for me, all of the ones that I've done relate in some way to a use that I have for that amiibo. So customizing the Mii Fighters is a lot of fun because it is such a blank slate in the game that you can do so many things with it. When Toys for Gamescast contacted me about trying to put something together, I was like, oh, what could I do in this amount of time? And I had been wanting to do a Shy Guy for a while, and I can take a Mii figure, which looks nothing like what it looks like in game, but I can make it look exactly how it's supposed to look in game. So that has meaning to me. And when I use figures like TJ and Dark TJ and the Koopalings, to have 8 Bowser Juniors that I'm scanning in to be those different characters for a show like Me Be Me, it gets really frustrating. I lose track of which one is which. So the motivation for me is I need to be able to look at this figure and identify right away which one it is. And I could just put a little label on it, which is what I did for a while. But I felt like it would be fun to try to make all of the Koopalings and have them. And I'm really happy that I have them now because I could just take one look and I'm like, oh, yep, that one's Morton, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I like that. Also, got to say, I'm a big fan of those Koopalings. Like,
thank you.
I've been following those close on like Twitter and stuff, and they always kind of make me drool a little bit.
only one more episode to go, and then it's off to the races. I think that the audience for that show are suffering from Koopaling fatigue, so it'll be good to get past this next one. Because while they are completely different, I utilize a lot of the same techniques to get there.
Right.
And so there were Koopalings because it would be 7 hours long, but to divide them up into 7 parts, I really try to focus and highlight what's unique about each one. But at some point, people are just listening to me repeat myself, and that's not true.
That's a good segue into the custom amiibo of the week. So we typically feature a particular amiibo of an artist that we have on the show. So I figured this week we could feature your Shy Guy Mii Fighter because that was really cool, and I know a lot of people love that one, and so we'll have that up on screen during the podcast. And so why don't you tell us a little bit about that particular one, and I guess you already told us some of the inspiration behind it as far as, Toys for Games contacted you and all that. But why did you want to do Shy Guy in particular?
Really, it was an 11th hour decision. I had been going back and forth between the different projects that I thought I could complete. Really, it was just a matter of time. I really, when Josh reached out to me, I wanted to get involved because I love those guys and I like the show and I want to support the community, but I didn't know if it would be feasible to be able to complete something. So for a while I debated, and eventually I had reached the point where I was just going to have to admit defeat. And I'm like, there's just not enough hours in the day. I'm not going to be able to do it. And I saw my daughter playing with one of those 2.5-inch Jakks Pacific figures, and I had already had a short list of amiibo that I'd wanted to make, and I remembered that you could change the Mii Fighter to be a Shy Guy. I was like, I'll bet that is something I have the time to complete. And so that was the main motivating factor. It was an amiibo that could be turned around in a couple hours. And I didn't want to just do the amiibo itself. I wanted to be able to create the custom box art, and I didn't want it to just be a head swap. I wanted to be able to make some unique identifying features to it. So I changed his hands from the fists into more of a karate pose. And I thought about changing the hand color to yellow, which would match the gloves in game, but I liked the color scheme of the white so much that I thought I would make that concession and just allow them to stay white. And because in Smash Brothers, it's not a complete hood. It's just like the mask and then the headband and a top hood. So all I really needed to do was create the groove in the face to fit the mask on, and then sculpt the back of the head the amount of time that was involved was relatively minimal. It took more time for me to let the milliput dry than it did to actually do the work itself.
Nice.
So that was the main incentive, was something that I knew I could do from start to finish, and that I felt would have a pretty polished look and would match its in-game functionality.
No doubt, I'd
Cool.
say it came out pretty successful. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So I guess now we'll throw it to Kyle with the Amiibo news of the week / weeks.
Oh, yes. Well, right off the bat, the big thing that just was announced today, just because they've been announcing the end of sales from last year. They're wrapping up yearly sales, for me to repeat myself right there. They just had really big numbers. It was kind of a big deal. They shipped out 24.7 Amiibo within the year. 24.7 million Amiibo, pardon me.
Is that worldwide?
Yes, and including, or that actually might have been Amiibo. Hold on one second. This is why I saved the
link to
the link to it. Yeah, it's right here. But yeah, I mean, it just says, that was worldwide. That was the 24.7 million. That's not counting cards. Cards themselves went out 28.9. So altogether, we had 53.6 million floating out there. Obviously, which the bulk of all got purchased. So that's pretty awesome for them. That definitely boosted them fiscally, which I'm sure they could not necessarily use the help, but
I don't know.
And 1.2 million of those were purchased by Amiibo Jason from Nintendo Inquirer.
That doesn't surprise me. That does not surprise me.
But they had this thing where they called Amiibo Evergreen. Basically, they were the Amiibo that pushed the sales the most. They were the ones that kind of helped bring them along. And in the U.S., the top 3 were actually Link, Pikachu, and Zelda. Link and Pikachu kind of made sense to me. Zelda actually kind of took me by surprise. I'm not going to lie about that. That makes sense why I've been seeing her everywhere in restocks. She has never been out. You'll always go somewhere and find her. At least in my area.
Yeah, same with Link and Pikachu. Actually, there are a few stores that were out of Mario's in my area for a bit, but they got restocked a week or 2 later. But every once in a while, Mario will not be in stock. So
yeah. Otherwise, on another platform, Kirby, all the Kirby Amiibo are for pre-order on GameStop, Best Buy, all that stuff. I know that came out a couple days ago, if not longer ago, but it's just nice to announce. I'm sure people like to know. I usually pre-order all of them just because back in the day we had all the line issues, having to get up early and go camp out. So I just gave up on that and started pre-ordering. But I don't think this line is going to really be that big of an issue. I think I'm going to be able to walk in day of or day after and find them. I hope I'm not wrong and foot and mouth again, but.
Well, no, I agree with you. I'm not even pre-ordering them. I walked into GameStop the other day to try to pick up a Darkrai code and realized, oh, it's too early. And the employee that was there was like, you don't want to pre-order all the Kirby Amiibo? I'm like, no, they're going to be common, especially in the first couple of days. They might sell out after a few days, like most Amiibo releases do, but then they'll get restocked and we'll be fine. But, he was like, you're not worried about them not being available the day they release? I'm like, no, not at all. At least not with. He's like, but you can't find Kirby anywhere, or King Dedede, or Meta Knight. I'm like, yeah, it's because they were all store exclusives except for Kirby, or King Dedede was not, but he was still hard to find. But I feel like if they were releasing a Kirby line, they're not going to make them scarce.
It's gonna be like Mario Party all over again.
Exactly. Although
Toad seemed scarce at first, but then 2 weeks later we got tons of restocks, and now he's everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't think we're going to have an issue. What about you, TJ?
It's hard to say because the Animal Crossing Amiibo have always been plentiful. As for Best Buy to be selling them for $5 each right now, that's probably at a loss. And so it wouldn't surprise me if they did modify shipments a little bit, anticipating that Kirby will not be as popular as the Smash line, especially when you consider that only one of them is a unique figure. You already have 3 out of the 4 Amiibo, so I'm not going to buy them. And it wouldn't surprise me if there were a lot of other people in a similar situation to me as that. So they certainly should send less than they sent of the Animal Crossing. If they're going to do it to the point where they become scarce, I don't know. You want to find that perfect, healthy balance between meeting demand and not flooding shelves. So
yeah,
I don't know. I hope they pull back a little bit.
Yeah, no, the Animal Crossing were overkill. You're not wrong about that.
Yeah,
That was pretty sad.
I think they were anticipating Animal Crossing to be, because there's a large following for Animal Crossing the game, and so I think they were anticipating that the people that love the Animal Crossing games would pick up the amiibo more out of nostalgia, I think, and we're also giving you the abomination known as Amiibo Festival.
Yeah, but that's kind of where they messed up. Like, they only gave you those 2 games, one of which basically doesn't function without it, and without having more functionality than that, people just were kind of meh.
And
Yeah,
here's
I
the
think-
real killer is they don't function in an Animal Crossing game. Like the Smash Bros. Line of amiibo function in Smash Bros. And the Animal Crossing amiibo do not function in Animal Crossing. I don't know if I play the game different than everybody else, but I love Animal Crossing. It has some kind of magical appeal to me. I didn't play Happy Home Designer, and I didn't play Amiibo Festival. I never will. I don't have any desire, because I play Animal Crossing to beat villagers with a net. And like, you can't really walk around and do that in those other 2 games. So I like to find cool bugs and set up dinosaurs. I don't interior design. I have no interest in interior design.
Yeah,
I do not play board games. It's just, board is in the name. It's in the name. So if it's something that's going to make me bored, I don't have time for that.
fair enough. Okay, so we try not to bash on Amiibo Festival more than at least once an episode. So it's good we're getting it out early.
Yeah, there you go.
So
The worst thing I can say about it is that I've never played it, and I have no desire to play it. That's my own
criticism is that Nintendo could have done an Animal Crossing game, like even just like port over, what is it, New Leaf was like the one that everybody loved like to death. Like, port over New Leaf to the Wii U, and it could have been that simple.
That would be amazing. That would be awesome.
I have a feeling that is their plan for NX, to be honest with you.
I agree.
I have a feeling we're going to get an Animal Crossing NX. I wanted to bring this up before, but I knew we were going to get to this, so I let it go. The fact that we all think Amiibo aren't going to be that scarce, or they're going to just start giving us a little less quantity because of Animal Crossing, but I do think the Legend of Zelda Amiibo series, if not stocked well, will be the next scarce season. And it'll obviously probably be either early next year or maybe holiday if we get lucky, but I highly doubt it because it'll probably only function with that game, outside of maybe Smash. But I hope that because of that line, we don't get people that are going to start waiting outside again and having to worry about stocks, just because Zelda is, next to Mario, the most iconic Nintendo franchise, I would have to say.
Yeah. I agree. I've almost completed my first one. It's got a little bit left to go, thanks to Kyle's suggestions. It'll probably be done next couple days. And we talked about how to attach the box to the custom printed back, etc., etc. This week, it's a little more abstract, coming up with a concept for a new custom. I think that'd be pretty interesting. So, who wants to go first?
I can go first. At the risk of repeating myself, mine are all motivated by usefulness in my life. I do Smash Supremacy and I do Me v Me, and those shows have a lot of duplicate amiibo. Mostly the Mii fighters, because there are a lot of Mii fighters that I want to be able to use. I want to be able to integrate TJ and Dark TJ. I want to be able to use Waluigi and Inklings, and I want to also allow my daughter and my son to participate in playing with the amiibo as well, but they're very young. One of them is 3, so I wanted to find some way to be able to make it safe for them to play with without damaging it, so I removed the chip and installed it into a plush toy that they really can't do much harm with. And as far as most of the ideas, it comes from a problem. I have a problem identifying my Bowser Juniors, and so I want to be able to solve that by making them resemble how they're going to look when I ultimately do scan them into the game. As much as I respect the amazing art of people who are doing non-Nintendo related amiibo, if the chip doesn't, if its in-game function doesn't resemble the exterior, I want to modify the exterior to match what the in-game functionality resembles.
Gotcha.
That's how I started out, honestly. That's why I mainly did repaints when I first started, is just because then when I scanned them in, they looked basically how they were in the game. Like, that's my first amiibo was my Blue Yoshi. But then just kind of, you get other ideas that you're like, I know it doesn't work with the game, but yeah, I might as well try that out, which is...
Inspiration with my customs and how I come up with the concepts is very similar to yours, TJ, in that I wanted my customs to reflect. That makes sense because fire is kind of glowy. So I did that one, and then once I got comfortable with that, I did Bowser, with an LED in his mouth, so it, starting to breathe fire kind of thing. Mega Man with the Buster Cannon, he shoots out a blast of energy. Makes sense. For the more out there ones, I don't know, I guess some of the Fire Emblem ones that I've done, however you say it, sword doesn't technically glow except for in certain situations. Robin's sword, Levin's sword with the kind of lightning going in the middle made sense. Some of them all you do for the capes and stuff, some accent lighting is what I like to call it. So I'll make the interior of the cape glow some, and it's more just trying to make it look cool, not necessarily reflecting functionality in the game. But I also try to stay true to things that happen as the characters within the video games that they're from, or within a game that they're in, be it Smash, whatever. Which is why, for Ryu, I don't really have anything realistic to do to him.
Backside glow.
Make his butt glow. I mean, if I could repose him into a Hadouken, I could do that.
Like a butt dukin?
Ah, yes, butt dukin.
Oh, man.
Oh, well, did you see my Wario? Did you see the Wario I did?
Did you already do one?
Yeah, I did Wario.
I thought I was making a joke, but no, I've seen all your mainstream ones like Mario and Bowser and the Fire Emblems. I didn't know you did a Wario.
Oh no, I did a Wario. It's something. Hold on.
I'm gonna have to look that up as soon as we get out of here.
I'll put it up on screen here in the podcast so everybody can see it. But yeah, I did a Wario. I called him Gas Master Wario because my girlfriend had a similar thought to you in that she goes, "You should make one of their butts glow," and I was like, "I have the perfect character in mind."
Don't I have egg on my face? Here I thought I was trying to be funny, and you've already done it. You're a master.
Thank you.
You're a master of your craft.
Well, I mean, if one of their butts didn't glow, what kind of artist would I be? I mean...
Can't say I disagree.
Yeah. Anyway, so, yeah, I've got Gas Master Wario. He'll be up on screen for those.
Yes.
Not an easy feat, I might add. And it's got 2 LEDs inside the fart.
Now, were you shaking your head the entire time you were working on that?
No, although I will say this. The first fart that I made, I just took all my scrap plastic so I use Instamorph plastic when I'm doing sculpting, and it essentially works. You take these little pellets in there, kind of a whitish clear, and you drop them in not quite boiling but really hot water, and they'll kind of turn clear and start sticking together, and then you can so there's a red, yellow, blue, and black option, and you can toss in however many color pellets you want. They do the same thing. It all congeals, and then you kind of fold it in and make the color uniform throughout the piece of plastic. Well, I'd done a bunch of way in case I needed them, and so I just kind of stuck them all in there together and didn't fold them together till the plastic was uniform, but I just kind of took all these random colors and made this kind of ugly thing, and I kind of made I was like, okay, what's a gas cloud kind of look like, and I was thinking mushroom cloud style, and so I did that, but as it dried, it didn't quite come out with that mushroomy shape. It came out kind of more like this, more like a balloon, and I was like, okay, that's okay. And then I was I had the lights already installed in his butt, and it sounds really bad. I had the lights installed, and I put the plastic piece over it, and my girlfriend goes, "That looks like a ball sack."
Oh no!
And it did. It was like this. It was it was all modeled in color, a bunch of different colors, but it was primarily this kind of brownish pink. And I was just like, oh.
And once you say that, there's no unthinking it. Even if it doesn't look like that, you're just like, no, we gotta start over. We can't do this now.
Yeah, exactly. And so And so I went and I redid the fart with mostly orange-yellow plastic instead.
It sounds like this woman is your muse. Not only does she inspire the greatest achievement in Amiiboglows, but she also guides you to make it not look unintentionally obscene.
For real.
Yeah, that's an accurate description.
How have I not seen this before?
Yes!
If you click the Imgur link that's in that tweet, there's a spinning GIF of it. So like the figure spinning in the GIF.
Yeah.
I'm shocked this is the real thing.
Major props though. Like that looks legit when it's lit up. Like,
Yeah,
holy
I
cow.
mean, it doesn't look really. It's one of those ones where the lights weren't particularly bright unless it was really dark. So, like, you know, if you were looking in like a sunny day and had it on your phone or whatever, you couldn't really tell that it's lit up. It's one of the ones that really has to be in the dark, but it still kind of looks like a 4-ball sack. But you know, it's not. At least it's not like. At least it's not like. It's not like pink.
Yeah.
And it's not hairy.
And
So,
when it's and when it's lit up, it actually looks like an explosion too. So that's perfect.
yeah. Anyway,
Which is
so-
appropriate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the main reason we're doing this podcast.
You can retire now. You've already. There's like, where do you go from this? Where do you go?
I know. There's
That is
nowhere
the
to go but
masterpiece.
down. So try to do things that happen in the game. Like, even with Wario, like, you know, it happens in the, you know, I try to stick with that. The one that I really kind of went out of the box with, I think, would be the King DDD I did, where I hollowed out his stomach, which took forever, and put a bunch of put a couple of LEDs in there, and then I drew with Sharpie Kirby's eyes on his stomach on the inside. So, like when he's not lit up, he looks like a normal DDD. When you light him up, it looks like Kirby's inside his stomach, like he ate Kirby. Which is not actually that out of character for DDD. Like, you know, he's able to, you know, suck things up in the game or whatever, but, you know, he's never swallowed Kirby all the way. So it's pushing the limits of that, but, you know, I enjoyed doing that. That was a concept that a friend of mine came up with. But, yeah, that's my inspiration is I try to stick with stuff in game, but, you know, if somebody said, hey, I want this, you know, I'd try it, you know, as long as it's a doable thing. So.
Yeah. Yeah, mine's a little more selfish, I guess, for lack of a better term. I started making all mine just based on things that I knew that I liked because they were the most familiar to me, so it was the easiest to like recreate. But at first, like I said, I was doing just repaints and stuff that could kind of be set up into Smash that would represent the characters when you scanned them in. That ended up either my creativity just wasn't big enough, or if that just ended up like kind of cutting me at the knees and I was reaching dead ends. I wanted to come up with like some kind of crossover, which is where I ended up coming up with Shy Guy Toon Link, just because I was actually just playing Yoshi's Island one night and I kept talking to my girlfriend like, I really want to think of something to cross over, but I can't think of anything and it's killing me. And I just was playing Yoshi's Island and I was like, I should just find who can be a Shy Guy. And I just kind of looked at Toon Link, and who was one of my favorite amiibo and favorite characters, and I was like, well, let's just try it on him. The mask will fit that pretty well if I just paint it right over. And that's what brought that on, and after that I just only wanted to do kind of crossovers, and then I did like Splattered Sonic, because he looks like he could be running with the weapons and with the tank on his back. Like, that just made sense to me. I ended up wanting to turn that into a whole line, which kind of ended up falling short as time went on, but that's kind of why I'm hoping to pump all these orders out and just work on, like, I don't know, a more wider variety of customs without making more than like 4 of each at most.
Yeah, you need to do that, the Splatoon, like, other figures line, because that the glow paint is awesome.
Me and Micus had the next one was going to be Fox, and Fox was going to be the next one.
Okay, so I guess now we can move on and do some questions for TJ, and then we'll cover the amiibo functionality after we deal with all these questions. So, we had a few questions for you, TJ, and this is, I guess, our customizer Q&A.
Hit me.
So, all right, first one is, what got you started on customs? And I feel like we kind of answered.
Well before I knew that it was even a thing that could be done for a particular line. I can't remember exactly what my first one was, but I know that it was going back to like 5 or 6, where I would Frankenstein my toys in odd ways with glue and scissors. But I tend to make...
Whoa. So you're saying you're Sid from Toy Story?
Yes, although in my mind, whether it was true or not, whatever I created at the end satisfied the whatever impulse I had. Like, I wanted a particular character that wasn't there, and I created it. So I felt more like I was giving life to toys than that I was murdering them. And I was always into toys. I would play with the figures and make little scenes. Common customs that I've done, no matter which line I was playing with, is a version of myself, because I always liked feeling integrated in whatever franchise I was playing. Like, if I was playing with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle action figures, I wanted to fight with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so I would make me to play into that. And I've just always done that. And then when Smash Brothers allowed me to do it in-game as well, it really reinvigorated that desire, and I knew right away there has to be a figure that represents the in-game character. So that's really what got it started. Although the first one that I did was a Dark Link, because when I had the idea for Smash Supremacy, I'm really a sword fighter and an editor by trade. I'm not a professional artist. Anybody who's followed me online knows that I make no such claims. I don't sell any of my artwork. But I do spend a lot of times doing artistic things. And for Smash Supremacy, I wanted to do this trailer that kind of combined the things that I do with Nintendo, and sword fighting is my job, so I wanted to fight myself. So I did a sword fight between TJ and Dark TJ as live action. And in that video, I'm doing it's heavily inspired by Iwata and Reggie's fight from the E3 trailer for Smash Brothers, and it's almost like a shot-by-shot reconstruction, except it's me as fighting myself. And in that, Dark TJ scans a Dark Link. So I could have just repainted a Link amiibo, but I wanted it to match his alternate trophy pose from the 3DS. If you complete one of the things, it gives you I think it's the All-Star mode. And so I just was really studying that trophy and seeing how I could manipulate and modify Dark Link, and using some of the techniques and tricks that I'd picked up from previous customs that I did, and I found amiibo are pretty accommodating to being customizable because of the type of plastic that they used, and the added incentive of it having some functionality beyond just completing a figure. There's nothing more satisfying to me than seeing a figure that I made and then bringing it to life in the game. I know people criticize amiibo for their lack of functionality, but as far as Smash Brothers is concerned, it is amazing, and I'm really excited about that, and it really inspired me. Most of the customs that I work on are inspired by Smash Brothers, and that's what got me started, and it's kind of what keeps me going.
Awesome, and I totally agree. Like, you know, Smash is by far the best amiibo functionality, and we talked about that last episode, and we now talking about it this episode. So another question we had for you is, what made you decide to start Custom Conquest?
I realized that there were a lot of people who were interested in customs, and I was following all of the same people that everybody else was following, and I was seeing the really cool things that they were turning out, and as well as people being excited and inspired by them, there were a lot of people who expressed the sentiment that they wish they could, but they didn't know how to approach it. They didn't have a starting position, and so I thought, I'm doing this anyway. I'm taking these figures apart, and I'm making mistakes, and I'm making discoveries. Maybe if I make this accessible to people, they may not want to make the same custom that I did, but just by breaking this thing apart and showing people how it was put together, it solves one of the most early hurdles that you run into, is how do I start this? Just by taking it apart, I have solved that problem for those people, so they can see, okay, this is how it's put together, this is what I need to do to disassemble it in order to achieve whatever goals I have in terms of reconstruction. So I was really hoping to fill in that gap where we see the end product and we have the idea, but how do we take that idea and bring it to for people?
Absolutely. And from what I've seen and heard, I would say you have.
Yeah. And so along those lines, what is your method for pulling Amiibos apart? Because I know what I do, but I'm curious what your method is versus mine.
I throw them in boiling water.
The whole thing, including the base?
Whole thing, including the base, everything.
Yep.
The water will not have any effect on your NFC chip at all. And I've even experimented to see how much damage an NFC chip can sustain. And I have yet to push one to the point, heat-wise, where it has any effect on it. I haven't wrecked one yet. And I've done some pretty abusive things. So I've heated them up in the oven to set clay, Sculpey. I've boiled them in the pot. I've left them in there for upwards of 15, 20 minutes. And while water does occasionally leak in, it will take all of the print off of the chip. The chip will still scan. And I can't say for certain that will be true in 100% of cases, but I've done it about 50 or 60 times, and I can tell you it's been the case 100% of the times for me. So I don't even bother at this point. I take the entire thing, I drop it right in the water, I pluck it apart with a pair of needle nose pliers with rounded tips so that it doesn't affect the plastic and it will return to shape. It's also very stubborn. So if you're going to try to repose it, it really wants to go back to its original position, which is why I started using an arm. The trick.
So, okay, and continuing that, how do you pull the gold part apart from the black part of the base?
The boiling water has no effect on that. Because of the type of plastic that is, it'll heat it up, but it will not make it more pliable. So what I do is I take a very thin butter knife and I stick it in the side and kind of run it all the way around, and eventually you'll find that point where the piece is connected and you just pop it and it'll come right out. I have broken and warped bases doing that before. I have maybe like I'd say a 90% success rate where it comes out undamaged. Maybe another 5% of the time it has some minor marring, and then about 5% of the time I destroy it beyond repair.
Yeah.
And it's the glue. Some are glued in so tightly that they're just not going to come apart, and others are glued in so minorly that if you drop it, it pops apart.
Yes.
And
So
you see different ones.
all right, well, here's my tip for you, because I do that with every custom I make. Is I have to pull the base apart. So the trick is to use a box cutter, and the box cutter, you break the tip off of the blade, and it'll break on its own when take the box cutter and you shove it in between the gold and the black, just like you do with the butter knife. And usually I'll do it in, if you're looking at the Smash coin, the way it's supposed to be looked at with the cross in it. At like 2 o'clock, I'll insert the box cutter there and pry up with the box cutter, and odds are the blade will end up breaking inside the thing the first time. Not a big deal. Just go to a different, 90 degrees from where you were, or quarter turn from where you were, pop it there. Quarter turn from there, pop it, or I guess it's more like 60 degrees rather than 90 degrees, because basically I never insert the thing into the base more than 3 locations, and eventually it'll pop out. Like you said, some are glued way more than they need to be. Some are glued almost non-existent, and they'll pop with the first location. But the great thing about that is that you don't end up touching the gold plastic at all. You don't even see it. The gold is almost never affected. The black part will sometimes, parts will get cut off or cut into. You can heat the black part up. Excuse me. Heat the black part up with a heat gun, or in your case hot water, and it'll warp back to its original position just like figures will.
Very cool.
So the black piece will warp, but the gold will not.
I didn't know about the warping. I also use box cutters, actually, just because I found it to be the thinnest, easiest thing to get in there, and it does break every blade you use.
Yeah,
but
that's
I didn't know about the warping. That's
makes me
awesome.
avoid doing it is the breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. The trick is you have to know there's a point of no return, because when you're prying it open, the gold will bend, but if you pry too far, it will permanently warp itself, and you'll wind up with a piece like this.
Right. That's what happened about 5% of the time for me.
Yeah, and I've done so many that I now know where that point is. Basically, if I'm having to do more than like a little bit of prying, then I stop and move to a different location and try prying there. I had a Ganondorf that I pulled apart the other day for a customer that it was the most glued thing I've dealt with at all. Like, it was so bad that I almost considered just breaking it and saying sorry. Because it took me about an hour to get the thing pulled apart. It was bad.
Wow.
So, and when I was finally done, I literally had gone in a full circle around and just pried, moved over a little, pried, moved over a little, pried, and kept going until I was all the way around. And it finally popped out. But
Wow.
yeah, it was bad. All right, so Kyle, you want to ask the next couple questions?
I can do that. One thing I had written down is, how much time would you say you spend working on customs a day or maybe a week? Or like, what's your pattern schedule you got?
It's hard to say because so many amiibo have different time commitments involved. I can say that the larger portion of every single custom for me is the finished episode. And the difficult thing is that if I'm going to shoot the process of making it, it makes the process of making it a lot more difficult. So like a Dark Link, I could turn around in about 16 hours, but if I'm going to shoot the process of making the Dark Link, I don't always have that time to do. So I do have a mini studio set up where I could just sit down, click on some lights, turn the camera on. What's easier for me to say is how much it takes to do an episode. And each episode averages between 70 to 100 hours. So you see a release schedule of anywhere from 10 to 20 days apart because I don't always have that reliable amount of time. It's not my primary job, so I do it on the side when I can.
Right,
I do enjoy doing it, but it's a heavy time commitment, so it's not easy. With the other shows, like I can turn around an episode of Me v Me, and at least because everything's pre-built, I can do it in about an hour. And Smash Supremacy, I would say those are probably in the 30 to 40 hour range.
Okay.
The Custom Conquest is at least double that. So just that commitment of time is something that makes it. I fit it in where I can. There's no regular schedule.
Yep. That's incredible, though. I did not expect that. I guess I probably should have expected that long of an answer, but like for like the amount of time it takes you, that's a lot, man. That's commitment.
Yeah, no kidding. Like,
it's probably also what contributes to me not wanting to make more than one. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
It is an adventure and it is a journey, and I'm a perfectionist. I don't think I've made a perfect amiibo. I haven't made a single one perfect. Art is something that is never completed. It's just something that's abandoned. When you eventually have to move on to something else, it reaches a point of acceptability. That's my gauge. Is it good enough to where I can accept it? And there have even been times with Wendy Koopa where I finished her, I thought I was done, and it was just bothering me. So I did have to go back and do some extensive touch-ups to go after it again. And I'm even worse when it's for other people, like Amiibo Jason and Happily Candied. I made custom Miis of them, and I'm really obsessed over it. Like every tiny little stroke of the brush, every tiny little bit of sculpting, they're not perfect, but you do the best you can, and you try to achieve something that you hope people will be satisfied with, and that's as far as our artists like you guys, and I've been doing it for a long time, and I know a lot of things, but there's also a lot that can still be learned, and I love being inspired by other people and learning from other people, and then incorporating that into my arsenal and making me better.
Definitely.
Yeah. So the only question I was able to find online, apparently people don't have a lot of questions for you, unfortunately.
People usually ask me them, and I address them pretty promptly online. So
yeah, well, that's probably why. You keep your fans satisfied as far as like have a store or anything like that. Will people be able to do commissions or whatever?
It just has no practical place in my life. I'll leave that to the pros. For me, it's a hobby. I enjoy doing it, and I enjoy sharing it with people in the form of Custom Conquest. hopefully I inspire people enough for them to feel confident to embark on their own mission and maybe endeavor to tackle their own custom. But as far as selling them, there's really no way to do it in a sustainable way. My process is too slow, and I couldn't get a turnaround that could be justified by any price, and to set a value that's fair to the consumer and also fairly compensating me for the work, that number doesn't exist. So I just can't see it being practical.
Well, on that note, I had an issue with that as well when I started doing these, and I charged upwards of $50 per custom minimum. So like even like a Mario or Mega Man, I charged like $50 for. But now I have set pricing. You know, I've gotten faster for sure, but for the time it takes me to make each one, I'm losing money if you charge per time, which is why, like, you know, and I actually, quick little tangent story, but related. I had an order that came in to me about a month ago, but it was placed through an outside source that then came to me, and the outside source, basically there's a lot of miscommunication involved. And so I just heard about the order about a month ago. They apparently had placed it through the other source about 5 months ago. And so they were already like really kind of like, why don't I have my figures yet? And I'm like, I just got this a month ago. I'm sorry. You know, I finished the order. And they were 2 Amiibos in 2 weeks. So 1 Amiibo per week. You know, not a big deal. And then I emailed them directly and said, hey, your figures are done. Send them pictures. I need your address so I can ship them out. And 2 weeks later, yesterday, I sent an email 1 each week, and I just heard back yesterday, so a full month later, and they were like pretty upset with me, and I was like, I'm sorry, like I've been waiting. I basically told them, like, if you're not gonna respond, like this is my final email to you. It's been this is, you know, at the end of this week, it's 3 weeks, and you know, here's the date. If I don't hear back from you by then, I'm going to list them for sale online, and if they're gone, they're gone. You know, I'm sorry that it's come to this, you know, but I hope I hear from you, and as soon as I get your address, I'll ship them out. And they came back and were very, very upset with me, and it was this whole big thing, and it got me thinking, and I was just like, my viewpoint on this has always been, I do this because I enjoy doing it, and when people start getting on my case and, you know, being like rude to me, you know, I probably could have handled it a little bit better as well, so there's some blame on my end. However, you know, when it stops being fun and, you know, becomes a chore to do this, I'm going to stop. And, you know, I do this because I enjoy doing it, and I'm not getting enough money to cover the amount of time I'm spending on every single one of these, realistically. But I do it because I love it. And I like seeing people's reactions when they finally get the Amiibo in hand and see it glow for the first time. Like, I've had a few reaction videos where people, like, unboxed and then test it out, and they're like, oh, that's so... You know, people are rude to me about, like, oh, your turnaround time's too long. Well, my turnaround time's pretty quick, actually, compared to...
I thought you were going to say me, because mine takes several months, just because ever since Christmas, which Christmas season is basically what turned me off of wanting to continue the store as I've done it, and I want to get down to just doing a couple of each, because I got badmouthed by a lot of people during Christmas season, and even though I would explain to them, like, it's Christmas, you and 50 other people made orders within the past 3 weeks, they still would get on my case and be like, you should be able to supply if you're able to do this, or if you're able to post it so much, and they were right, like, that's what sucks. Like, I kind of bit off way more than I could chew. But a lot of them were just way, way ruder than they needed to be. But I've worked in customer service for the past 5 years I've been an adult, so, like, yeah. I've learned the tactic to take care of that crap.
Yeah, no, and I worked retail for a year or two, you know, and I literally ran the business, like, from the retail perspective where I was working. So, you know, I'm used to dealing with rude customers, people that are unhappy. That's fine. But for something that I'm doing because I enjoy it, the second somebody starts being mean to me about it, I'm going to be like, okay, sorry, you're not getting your figure. Here's your money back for what you've given me so far.
It definitely makes you want to not try it as hard.
Yeah. But you know what? I love making Amiibos. I really do. Or Amiiglows, I should say. I don't make the Amiibo. So I love doing it, and I try my hardest to keep my customers happy, and sometimes I fail, and I'm sorry for that for the people that are listening. I feel like we're human too. Like Kyle understands.
One of the most important things to consider is every single custom amiibo is made by a person, not a machine. And to maintain a certain level of consistency across a line of figures, even when it's factory machined, is difficult. I mean, you could look at 10 different marks, and every one of them have different facial prints. And then you have somebody who's trying to paint these things by hand. That's difficult. I think that aspect of it is what makes me not want to put my work out there in a commercial capacity. It's not because I don't think that the quality of the work is good. It's that I don't have time in my life to deal with discrepancies in expectations. So if somebody's expecting to see something that looks like Nintendo printed it, maybe I can make that once. Maybe I can make that 7 times out of 10. But what about those other 3 times? And that knowledge of my own limitation as a person, and there's fatigue. You're talking about your Christmas rush. You paint 5 in a row. The 6th one, you're not coming at it.
One on the way. I have a full-time job. I'm trying to become manager. Like, I get 1 to 2 hours a day if I get a chance to go downstairs and work. And like my dry Bowser, if I get a straight through run, takes about 8 to 10 hours. And when I'm doing 2 or 3 of them plus another 3 figures, all at the same time, it's going to take 5 to 6 weeks to get a couple of them out. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel ya. All right, so those are, I believe, unless Kyle, you got any other questions for TJ, that's all the questions we've got for this week.
Yep.
All right, cool. So that's it for questions for this week. And my YouTube video is uploaded of me versus my Mewtwo amiibo. So why don't we start with my video? I just sent it to both of you on Twitter.
So you're doing yours first?
Yeah, we'll do mine first.
Cool.
I'm assuming yours is more entertaining than mine. Because
we don't know.
Yeah, we'll find out. So this final segment, we're going to finish up our Smash Amiibo functionality segment that we started last week. Kyle trained a Ganondorf amiibo, which he named Ganonworf, and I trained a Mewtwo amiibo, which I named Mute, and mine is the orange costume. I don't know about you, Kyle. What did you do, color costume-wise? Do you remember?
They all look so similar, but it's one where he's got like dark blue skin.
Okay, cool. I personally prefer old Manendorf.
Mm-hmm.
with the gray hair. But whatever. So, orange Mewtwo, known as Mute. I was thinking like a newt, like a fire salamander, like the ones that are kind of orange colored. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway.
I follow that logic.
Yeah. So since last week mine had all negative stats, but he was balanced. So this week I trained him against a bunch of my other amiibo, which you can see most of them behind me for the trained ones. The Mega Man, the 4 of them sitting over there, are not trained. Those are for customs. But the Palutena, Pikachu, Zero Suit Samus, Bowser, Fox, Lucario, Link, and Zero Suit Samus are all trained. And so I had them all just fight in a multi-man smash for like 99 minutes, 99 stock, whatever. So that allowed me to feed this Mewtwo some good equipment to improve its stats, but I kept the Easy Perfect Shield, Extended Respawn Invincibility, and Critical Hit capability are its bonus effects. But now it's, instead of being negatively balanced, it's now positively balanced with plus 16 attack, plus 17 defense, and plus 21 speed. And it still knows all the basic moves. I didn't modify the moveset at all. So it's pretty badass. So I battled it using Lucario, who is my main, and I gave myself a maximum of 5 battles before I chose the one that I was most happy with my own performance, not necessarily happy with his performance. Because if I went with the one that was his performance, the first one where he 4-stocked me was probably the one to show. Because he got me with a spike, he threw me up, and I splatted on the screen, and I was just, it was embarrassing. And and I was like, I can't represent myself this way. So, without further ado, we're going to cut to the video, and we're gonna watch it live. So we're going to comment on it as things are happening, and I'm gonna let you two do the commenting since I've seen it already.
Yeah, fair enough.
3, 2,
All right, so I made Lucario. and I'm not particularly good at Smash because of full body.
All right, get a little move, testing it out.
You're getting them. You're getting them. That's right. Keep him at that edge. You keep him there.
You got the timing. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to know how to use or deal with the charging B attack.
Well, and you're even doing this without any aura advantage.
I'll have it soon. one throw I'm at 25.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty tough.
2 hits at 57.
Oh, great, he's getting you with that stupid purple stuff.
Oh, Dark TJ making an appearance now.
I like it.
That purple stuff really makes Dark TJ mad.
Does it? Alright, well, you're about to see a lot of it.
Alright, you're moving around.
You're edge. Uh-oh. Combos. Good dodge there.
Alright, now's the time. Start using that power bonus right there.
Get it.
I actually did not mean to do that jump off the edge there.
It actually made you should have said that you should have owned that because it made it look like you had a lot of skill.
And boom! First stock
There
goes.
we go.
Like a boss.
So I mean, you killed him. Hey, you killed him before he killed you, so you're already doing better than I will be when we're watching mine.
Splat!
There you go. That was a good time.
He's letting you load that thing up.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
that's one thing. I'm surprised he lets you stand over there.
He's,
Aggressively.
yeah, he's not playing as well as he has in the past in this particular match.
I mean, he makes his hits count. He's pretty patient.
Yeah, he knows you like to dip and dodge around there.
And the counter is where I screw up a lot.
Mewtwo, use Tail Whip! Dang.
I'm always so nervous when I drop in from above, because I'm like, something bad's gonna happen.
Yep.
Right. I always come from below when I'm off the edge.
That's a reasonable time to be somewhat concerned.
Alright, so he's at 99%, 22 seconds left. I'm like, okay, I can do this. If I tie him, we go into sudden death and I can beat him.
Yeah.
And then, 5 seconds left, he gets me, oh no! And it's just,
I thought he was gonna get you, or like just wasn't even gonna let you live.
yeah, I thought he was gonna try to spike me.
Yeah.
That was a very respectable performance.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, thank you. Alright, so, what you guys think? I mean, that was my best performance of the matches. Like, you know, it didn't go through all 4 stocks, you know. What did you guys think?
You lasted more than me. Like, I definitely, you're gonna see at least quite a few stocks.
I know you said you're not that good of a Smash player, but I guess that depends on what you're comparing yourself to, because you definitely have a respectable amount of skill there. I don't know that you could go and win Evo, but
No.
you definitely held your own against a pretty formidable Mewtwo amiibo.
Mm-hmm.
That's something.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Alright, so let's load up Kyle's and see how he did. And then we'll discuss a little bit of the functionality and like what we did and didn't like about training.
Yeah, I will tell you, I haven't trained mine at all since our last podcast. He just was off on the side, and then I actually ended up doing the video today. And I didn't give myself 5 matches. I gave myself 10. I gave myself some leeway because I haven't played all week. But I saved 3 videos from those 10 matches, and then I went back, watched them, and was like, okay, which one of these is the best one to do that shows, A, I don't suck that bad, hopefully, and B, that they don't suck that bad, which he still destroys. He was just demolishing me all day.
Yeah, no. So one thing I want to do is next week we're done with training the amiibos. Kyle, I want you, like, whatever the one where you got beat the absolute worst. Send me that video, and we'll do like a quick thing next week where we'll do this again with just, you know, the us just getting our asses handed to us. So people can see that. Because, you know, I chose the match where I performed the best. Granted, I spammed the B attack and side smash quite a bit, but, you know, it was what I had to do. I mean, I didn't stand a chance. If I went on and played against that Mewtwo the way I would play against like another human player, I would have gotten destroyed.
And you played according to the ninja code, whatever it takes.
Exactly. All right. Kyle's videos. Everybody got it loaded up?
Yeah,
loaded up.
All right. Oh, before we do that, reminder.
Oh my gosh, if I can remember from last week, because I haven't changed any of them. I know that his defense and his speed are up in the 40s or 50s, while his attack is down in the teens, which I mentioned last time is just because he's already a strong character, so I wanted to focus on his speed, which definitely came back to haunt me pretty bad. He's very fast. But as for his bonuses, I know one of them is the 30%, the 50% chance of 30% during oh my gosh,
sudden death.
Thank you. And then there's another one where he can go. He can halt from sprint faster, which helps his speed even more. And there was one other one which I cannot remember for the life of me right now. But it is mentioned in the last video, so you know if anyone wants to really find out all the details, you can go back and watch that episode.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. You guys ready?
3, 2, 1, go!
All right. Main and Toon Link. Like that.
Oh yeah, he is my man.
Strong start.
Starting with the bombs.
Dang, man. Oh.
Okay.
Some
Yeah, I like
like
the a lot.
I love how you are utilizing the entire arsenal.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of people play with bombs all that often when my friends play Toon Link.
That's his most useful thing, because everything, like he has the bows and the boomerang, which obviously help from a distance. But the bomb is just a nice one that they don't usually see coming.
Wow, I'm surprised that you're being that aggressive jumping off that stage like that. I would never risk that with, like, my amiibo. Like most of, oh, there it is.
Yeah, I timed that one out pretty badly. And
This is Hyrule!
As soon as I saw him blocking me over and over, I was like, this ain't
Hey, you know what? You killed him for the first stock almost as fast as Mewtwo killed me after I got my first stock on him. So
good. That's fair.
I'm starting to get the distinct impression that both of you would lay waste to me in Smash.
Wow, that was... Ooh.
Yeah, he's...
Oh, you hate big time.
I'd like to think that I'm pretty good, but the only people I ever really play with, like, around here online are people that don't play a lot. So that just boosts my ego in ways it doesn't need to be boosted.
So I'm kind of surprised that your Ganondorf allows himself to get hit so much. Like, you're dealing a lot of damage to him. If I got that much damage on that Mewtwo, like, if I got damage on that Mewtwo as much as you're getting damage on your Ganondorf, I feel like I would have won.
See, that's the thing. He lets me get small hits in a lot. He will let me hit him.
Like he doesn't even care.
But my smash hits, my big moves, he rarely will let me hit with, like, hitting them.
Ooh,
Like that one, sometimes
that was awesome.
He usually counters my down like that with his up kick, and he's usually pretty good about timing it. This is the video I got where he doesn't do it every single time. The other one is he likes to do the side B, grab me, let me fall, and then kick me before I have a chance to get up because there's just no time for me to save myself, and that's a bad one.
There's really no margin for error if you get hit by those powerful kicks and punches.
No kidding. Hey, I'm impressed by the fact that you're, like, dealing that much damage to him.
Like, you're hitting him 10 times for every one time he hits you. It's just that he kicks you once and there's 60% damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. All right, cool. So I think I fared a little bit better than you did against my amiibo, but granted, I chose the one where I performed the best against my amiibo. So we'll definitely put in some ones where we didn't do quite so well. But I guess, so Kyle, what did you like or dislike about training the amiibo? And TJ, I know you've done some fair amount of amiibo training, so if you want to chime in.
We praised this a lot because this is definitely my favorite, and I know it's your favorite, amiibo functionality game. I love training them. I don't really have any negatives. Like, it's really hard to pick anything out that I wish they could have improved on because it's just very well-rounded, and especially the fact that they're incredibly difficult to defeat. That was my favorite part, is the fact that we got to get new computers we could face that didn't just go up to level 9, where eventually you can get better than the level 9, and then it's not really as exciting. These amiibo are intensely difficult to beat, especially because they figure out what you like to do too. So I'm all for how they got this game to function with Amiibo. Like, it's definitely the best one.
I spent a lot of time trial running Amiibo against each other for Smash Supremacy, and a lot of them is just running trials where I'll do 50 fights in a row and watching how the Amiibo change their tactics as they fight each other. Mine are not human trained. Mine are trained purely by the computer for the purposes of trying to make the results as sterile as possible. I don't want there to be any human corruption or human influence, because that will definitely have an effect on the way that the Amiibo behaves. But watching how they will eat a bunch of the same move over and over again for maybe a couple matches, and then by the third fight, they never get touched by that move again. And that ability for the character to not continually be susceptible to the same attacks is what makes them destroy level 9. Level 9 computer are going to behave the way that they're going to behave according to the way that they were programmed. But the Amiibo have very sophisticated fight algorithms that allow them to modify behavior based on experience. And that is super cool. It makes it a lot more fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. So for me, I really enjoy training Amiibo in Smash. And so we talked about our techniques and how they differ between myself and Kyle last time. TJ, I'm sure you have, like you said, you're basically doing AI or I guess computers or other Amiibo fighting against Amiibo.
Perfect.
And so, you know, we all have very different techniques. I don't do any of the special smashes with like slowed down or sped up time like Kyle does. But we all got, you know, I feel like there's a good bit of leeway in training Amiibo in that, you know, even if you yourself are not a particularly good player, there are ways around that to make your Amiibo like completely badass. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it helps to be a really good Smash player. I'd be interested to see like what an Amiibo trained by like one of the top 3 players in the world is able to do, kind of thing, you know? Like that would be really interesting.
Right.
But and like put that up against somebody that trains solely using other Amiibo like you do versus myself, who I do a little bit of both. More heavily on the Amiibo side than the human side, because like I said, I don't think I'm a particularly good Smash player. But I really enjoyed training Amiibo. So like as far as Smash training Amiibo goes, like that's probably my favorite aspect of the game, honestly. It's like, aside from playing against your friends, it is the best part of this game. And as far as Amiibo functionality goes, it's a solid 10 out of 10 for me. We don't have a rating system or anything, but it really is. It's a lot of fun. It's a good way to do it. And watching your Amiibo fight against your friend's Amiibo is really fun, because you can be like, I taught him that move. He's using it finally. You know,
around it. So it's enough fun for me to spend hours upon hours every week doing. Of course, there are things I wish that they could do. I'm still a little bit sad that I can't have my Amiibo be my single-player co-op buddy. That would be super, super awesome. But you know, I understand that there are limitations to it. Maybe that's something that'll be integrated into a future Smash.
Yeah, so I would have also liked to have been able to do online play with Amiibo.
Yes.
So you scan
that is seemingly an odd feature not to have.
Okay, so like I understand not doing like Amiibo versus humans online. I could see how that would be kind of difficult to pull off. But what I do in all Amiibo, so like you go in and you set up rooms, you can either designate it as a human controlled room or an Amiibo room. Any Amiibo can be scanned and then have the Amiibo fight, and that way you can fight internationally and have, you know, it doesn't matter what the level is. If you want to train your Amiibo up against somebody else's Amiibo,
the different modes that Amiibo can participate in. I certainly would be all about that.
Definitely. Yeah. We talked one time about how they had the patent for the base that could read multiple Amiibo at a time that they were for Amiibo. But for people like me, I don't have like any local friends that I can play like Smash with or with our Amiibo, which is why it's more detrimental for me as like one of the many people out there that I'm sure have the same problem, that I want to play my Amiibo online, because most of my friends live anywhere from 2 to 6 hours away and upwards of that. So I never get that ability. I have never had any of my amiibo fight someone else's amiibo. I've yet to have that privilege.
All right, so here's what when TJ, you mentioned like at some point in this podcast, you think you said you think I'm a fairly good. So keep talking about. We really do.
Gonna Chris said she's in, so
yeah, I'm traveling all throughout May for my real job, so I can't do anything in May like at all. But once May is over, about halfway through June, I'm busy as well. So like, I want to get Gone to Chris, Evilos, TJ, you, Kyle, myself, Kick Ash, Xanark, and Sky, like every possible, like Toby Thornton, Amiibo Workshop. God, who else? Like
anyone that's interested.
Micus, like all these customizers.
I heard that talking down her game so that when you actually go up against her, bam, smash attack.
I said it last episode. I'll say it again. We love cheese on this show.
Best.
So, yeah.
Well, if you read through any of the comments on my videos, you know that I am the king of cringe.
Yes.
I can't release content without somebody mentioning the cringe-worthy nature of it. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I mean, that's what makes for good entertainment, though. If you don't cringe at least once, it's not worth watching.
Well, by that philosophy, I am an entertainment god.
Oh, God. All right. So, I think that wraps us up for this week. Next week, who knows who we'll have on. We're still working on developing this outro because I did not like what we did last time because it was bad.
That was bad.
I don't even remember what it was. It was so bad.
Did you guys do somersaults over the couch or something?
We should. That'd be better. That'd be step forward here.
Yeah. No, what was it? It was
like you could feel free. We're trying to think of something relatable to Amiibo. So we said like you're free to remove your Amiibo. That's the last interaction you have with your Amiibo and the Wii. This is the last interaction you have with us. But it's just way too cheesy and like too direct.
Yeah,
there's not enough pun. There's not enough cheese. It's too straightforward.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, it was bad. So before we do that, TJ, where can everybody find your stuff?
You can find me at Custom Conquest on Twitter, or Smash Me TJ, or at Smash Me Dark TJ.
All right, and on YouTube.
And at YouTube, I'm part of the original content on Nintendo Inquirer Amiibo News. So if you look up either of those two things, it should take you right to it. And you can check out Smash Supremacy, Me, or Custom Conquest.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm Mason, a.k.a. Amiiglows.
And I'm Kyle, a.k.a. Mr. SpaceHeater.
And this has been me, TJ, and Dark TJ.
Do you want to tweak your Amiibo?
Nah, I'm good.
Maybe next time.
All right. Peace out, guys.
Our hero has reached the end of his journey. But in a way, he is just beginning. Young man, you must use what little power you have to conquer the world and save the princess.